让我们有请哈佛大学 Achievement Gap Initiative 教务主任 Ronald Ferguson. Please welcome the Harvard University's Faculty Director of the Achievement Gap Initiative, Ronald Ferguson.
I'd like to ask you to look at the three parts of the title on the screen. Combining technological systems and human systems to achieve fully realized human beings. Think about, what do you envision when I say technological systems, when I say human systems, when I say fully realized human beings? Often when we talk about technology in the context of education, we're talking about technology interacting with students to enhance student learning, to improve student outcomes in various ways. But today, I'm talking about ecological systems, human systems, where people are interacting, where you've got parents and teachers and peers interacting with the student, and where our goal is to enhance the operation of that human system, to enhance the operation of that technological system. So the question becomes, how can we use technology to do that? Not simply to teach a student, but to affect the operation of a human system. So we're talking about using technology then to interact with teachers, to interact with parents, interacting therefore indirectly with students who may learn and develop differently than if there had not been those supports for their teachers and their parents. So technology and education, I'm suggesting, should help the ecological systems to develop fully realized human beings. It's not even helping a teacher only or helping a parent only, but it's having the system in mind when we think about the impact of the intervention and maybe even the structure of the intervention. So what skills do fully realized human beings have? And here, this talk and the way that I've structured it is in many ways a response to conversations that I've heard in China and other places when people talk about using technology to enhance educational outcomes. They tend to be very focused on the academic skills and various kinds of ways to, for example, use artificial intelligence to substitute electronic or technological interactions for human interactions. But academic skills are not the only ones we care about. We also care about social skills, the ability to diagnose an interpersonal situation and calculate the best way to react to another person that we may be interacting with. Emotional self-regulation, the ability to manage an intense feeling or to recover from feeling sadness in a particular situation. Decision-making skills. Many of you in this room, you probably would not be in this room if you had not already achieved some degree of success in life. And the success that you have achieved so far in your life is not dependent narrowly on your academic skills. You've had to use your social skills, your emotional self-regulation skills, your decision-making skills to get where you are. Similarly, negotiation skills, the ability to persuade, the ability to talk another person into trading with you or exchanging in a particular way. In communities where children are kept in their place, where they're not invited to challenge and debate ideas with adults and have a different perspective, they don't learn negotiation skills. They often won't even learn decision-making skills. So again, fully realized human beings, what are the skills? And I'm listing those here. Imagination and visioning skills. The skills to dream of something you've never seen. The skills to imagine yourself in the future, what your career might be, the ways that you want to interact with the world with other people. Those are not narrowly academic skills, and we get them in human systems. And so how can we use technology to strengthen those human systems that put together these skills, which collectively I refer to as autonomy skills? Okay, how human beings use their autonomy, their freedom to decide. They need more than simply academic skills. And the question is, how can we enhance the operation of human ecological systems to build these skills, to have the kinds of societies that we would all like to have in the future. So again, can technology prepare adults to develop these technology skills? I'm going to give a couple examples from my own work. I have designed feedback surveys for teachers to use and school systems to use to enable students to give feedback to their teachers on what they experience in the classroom. And we've done research with these data to show which elements of classroom practice, which elements of a teacher's repertoire contribute to the development of autonomy skills as opposed to academic skills, for example. I don't have time now to explain all of the labels on the screen here, but you'll see it goes from, go back one slide. Or did I already just go back? Okay. So care, captivate, care, confer, captivate, clarify, consolidate, challenge, and classroom management. Each of those words means close to what you would think it means in terms of what teachers do in classrooms interacting with their students. But there are three of those C's that are probably more related than the others are to the cultivation of autonomy skills. And I can say that because we've done the research to look at which combinations of the C's, for example, predict year-to-year test score gains versus which combinations say, because of my teacher, I think more about going to college, or other things that would relate more to autonomy skills. Here, care, captivate, and challenge are three. Care, for example, on a student survey, the items might be, I like the way my teacher treats me when I need help. My teacher seems to know if something is bothering me. Both of these are picking up whether the student perceives a personal relationship has developed with the teacher. When students agree more with these questions, they're more with these items, they're more likely to ask the teacher for help in class. They're more optimistic about the future. They're just feeling happier, for example, and happiness is among the things that we should care about in classrooms, not just whether students are preparing for the future. Captivate. Items, I like the things that we are learning in this class. I like the ways that we learn in this class. My teacher makes lessons interesting. So we get student feedback on these things, whether students are being engaged, whether teachers have made a special effort to find out what their students are interested in so that they can tailor lessons to engage students more, as opposed to just delivering whatever lesson the teacher's been handed in a rote, systematic but rote way that doesn't interest students very much. So a classroom where students feel I've got a connection with my teacher and it's really interesting are preparing different mindsets, different orientations toward life and learning than classrooms where there's not that connection with the teacher and the lessons aren't very interesting. And then challenge. My teacher makes sure I try to do my best. My teacher makes us explain our answers, why we think what we think. My teacher doesn't let people give up when the work gets hard. Now, part of what I'm arguing against is classrooms that only do challenge, that are only controlling students and holding students accountable for working hard and staying tuned in intellectually. It's that combination of care and captivate and challenge that gives you that aspiration that helps to cultivate the autonomy skills that I'm talking about. It's not either or, it's both and in combination. And so the idea is that we have students in a classroom who can use technology to give the teacher feedback. And we do this. We have online surveys, we have then reports. So we have the students' online survey responses regarding the quality of teaching, and then a report to the teacher summarizing the feedback from their class. Not telling them what any given student said, but telling the teacher, your students rate you really high on challenge, but very low on care and captivate. So it's a classroom where the students, that kind of a classroom would be one where the students feel pressured to do well, but don't feel that the teacher really cares, and it's not interesting. Or you can have a classroom that rates really high on care and captivate, where their teacher connects in a personal way and makes it interesting, but doesn't challenge the students to do their best. And so they don't work as hard as they would if the teacher wasn't challenging. It's the combination. And the idea is that once the teacher gets that feedback, there's improved teaching in the classroom, especially when you have teachers working together where they're discussing the feedback they've got and coaching one another on ways to get better. Okay, so this is not an extremely advanced application of technology, but it is an application of technology with a purpose and with a theory about why we think it should work to make a difference. If teachers are given feedback on their student experiences and they're in a community of teachers who are themselves learners, they can improve instruction and improve the degree to which their students are acquiring those autonomy skills that I talked about. Another project, I've recently this year completed a book called The Formula: Unlocking the Secrets to Raising Highly Successful Children with my co-author, Tatcha Robertson, who, I don't know, Tatcha, are you in the room? She's in the back of the room over there. Tatcha is an all-star journalist who has worked with me to put out this book that distills how the very most successful people in the world have been parented. We interviewed 200 people. About 36 of those are actually in the book. And these are people, about half of them are Harvard graduates, but the other half are people that we just encountered out in the world who impressed us. You know, the youngest major statewide elected official in the United States. The mother, actually she's on the program, Esther Wojcicki, the mother of the founders of YouTube and 23andMe, or the CEOs of YouTube and 23andMe, or the White House reporter for CNN in the United States. Just people who are truly outstanding. And we interviewed them and their parents to ask them to describe how they were raised. We would start our interviews by just saying, what's your earliest memory of your child as a learner? And then we just ask questions and have them tell us their story, and 3 hours later we'd say, okay, we're going to call back and have another conversation. Okay? Or if we talk to the young person, we say, what's your earliest memory as a learner? And they would tell these stories. And we'd interview people, you know, lots of different people, and gradually it's like this story kind of emerged from the fog. And there were 8 things that we heard over and over in these stories. 8, what we call them roles that the parents played, but there are 8 types of things that we heard over and over in these stories, and which we would like to be able to teach parents to do. Okay, we'd like to produce far more people that have the qualities of these highly successful people, but then we have to have some way of reaching parents with that information. Now we have books, and we've written a book, and it'll be coming out in China sometime during the next year. We have books that do that, but those books can be amplified by using technology to also reach parents. I won't try to explain all of those roles on the screen. I'll just choose 3 of them that I think are the most closely related to the autonomy skills that I'm emphasizing. Okay, one is the revealer. We found in every one of these stories, the parents had introduced their children to what we call life's menu. There are lots of different things in life to do and to grow up to be and to explore as an interest. And all of these parents, in one way or another, or actually in several ways, and that differed by family, had introduced their children to ideas of what their life could be like and things they could be interested in. And then they allowed the children to choose from that menu. It's like as if you take your child to a nice restaurant and you show them the menu, explain to them what different parts, different things on the menu are, and then allow them to choose. Okay, in some places, in some societies, the parent makes the choices. If the parent makes all the choices, the child doesn't own the choice. The child does not become as engaged as they otherwise might. They don't necessarily persist at it when they are no longer under pressure from their parents to do things. So the idea is to show children life's menu and let them choose. And that's what we heard over and over in the stories of the people that we interviewed. Then you get the philosopher, the one in the middle. The philosopher is the parent who helps the child develop a world view, an ethical compass, find a sense of purpose, find places to look for meaning in life. And it's almost as if the philosopher helps the child to decide which of the things on the menu from the revealer they choose. And different people that we interviewed chose different life purposes. Some wanted to be storytellers and ended up as journalists and White House reporters. Others wanted to help save lives in the medical field. Others wanted to be politicians. Okay. Others wanted to be business people. We have a young man in the book who was born in Africa, who's now, by the age of 30, bringing technology to the African continent and bringing water to villages that didn't have water before and convening international conferences on technology issues. Okay. The philosopher helps the child to find a sense of inspiration and to make choices from the things that the revealer showed them. And the negotiator teaches a child how to speak truth to power respectfully, how to self-advocate, how to persuade, how to behave themselves in a way that powerful people will want to support them. Okay, so we have these examples from actually in the next few slides, I forgot that I actually explained it in the slides. So the revealer exposes a child to life options from which they can choose, teach the child to be a good decision maker. The philosopher helps the child develop their own worldview, not impose the parent's worldview. And the negotiator helps the child learn to advocate effectively for the things that they want. And so all of those things help to cultivate these autonomy skills, not only the academic skills. And we're trying to pull societies not away from caring about academic skills, but toward adding these other concerns and finding ways to use technology to help adults, help the parents and teachers to do these things. So, and these are kind of obvious technology ideas, but I guess we want to be careful in the rush to use all the most advanced technologies, not to forget that there are some things that are fundamentally important that we can do with using technology, but not necessarily the most advanced technologies. So delivering advice to parents through smartphones and text and push notifications with the kinds of information that's in those roles that I just talked about a minute ago. Online surveys and feedback systems to help teachers understand better what their students are experiencing in the classrooms, like I talked about with those 7 C's that I had on the screen a while ago. Online mechanisms to help adults collaborate in achieving their shared goals for children. For example, to collaborate on thinking about, well, what do I do with this feedback I got from the student surveys? Or just ways to share lesson plans, ways to pose questions to their peers. And then all the social media, electronic books, journals, online videos, all these things that we have nowadays to trade and exchange information. Part of what I'm saying is that when we use technology, we need to know why are we using it, for what purpose, what goals, and to help who get better at their work. My argument is that the world needs technology to help adults. We need to use technology that helps adults build the ecological systems around children that help the children to thrive in the modern world. We don't always have to focus only on helping the children, and we want to think ecologically. And if we can do that, I think we can build a better world, and with that, I'll say thank you.
感谢 Mr. Ronald Ferguson 的精彩演讲。Thank you for insightful perspectives, Mr. Ronald Ferguson.